Welcome to another edition of Mortgage Talks. I'm your host, Adam Hires. Remember to go to hirescoaching.com, download your free 12-week business transformation playbook today. Listen, chock full of great information. The thing is this is not just telling you what to do. This is telling yourself what to do, because you are going to have a lot of stuff you're going to fill in, and you're going to tell yourself what you need to do, what activities that you need to hit, how many calls you need to make, how many appointments you need to make, et cetera, to get to the end goal of what you're looking for in the 12 weeks. So we're headed up almost at the end of the year. And the fact is, again, I always tell people you're in one of three categories. You're on pace, you're behind pace, or you're ahead of pace. And all three of them can be a trap, a very big trap. Because if you don't reset, if you just say, hey, I'm going to coast in because I'm over my goals, well, then now you're leaving stuff on the table, especially for 2021, because 2021 has already started. If you're on pace, you're kind of doing the same thing, and you're behind, you need to just throw your hands up. Well, I'm just not going to hit my goals anyway. Wait for next year, and that's too late. So get in there, dive in there. It doesn't matter. You don't have to wait till January 1st or 2nd. Hit your goals. Start working on your goals today. So I talk about all the time on the podcast with my clients. Being a mortgage coach, a lot of it has very little to do with just the X's and O's. Like anybody's a sports fan, big sports fan, X's and O's. Like you get on there and, the coach is talking about X's and O's for football. And most of the time, it's not the X's and O's that really define what people are going to hit, what their goals are going to do, et cetera, et cetera. Those are certainly valuable, but it really boils down to having the foundation. And the foundation is always and forever controlling yourself. Me management, mindset, all the way. And so I'm very excited to have my guest on today, because she's going to uncover a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes for you. Uncover those one or two layers below, like I always talk about, maybe it's 3 layers below, of what's not allowing you to take action, not allowing you to take the next step, not allowing you to be the best self you can be. So mindset is the foundation, a huge foundation, and should always be the top of mind of what you're trying to do, because we all have hangups. That's why we need coaches. That's why we need mentors, to make sure that they are looking at it and going, whoa, hey, stop. Have you considered this? And a lot of times this goes right back to mindset. So I have the pleasure, you all have the pleasure of having Pam Christian on the show. Pam, glad to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. You said so much good stuff already. I'm like, wait, you're taking all my material. And for 16 years or 15 years, I was a real estate agent.
Yes.
So I know this audience really, really well. And I know how a lot of you get in your own way. So this is going to be fun.
Yes. Real estate agents are a mess with mindset. So are loan officers. I'm just picking on
Not
you.
this one.
Not this one. You're right. No, I'm just picking on everybody out there. But absolutely, which is you're going to probably attest to is real estate agents and mortgage loan officers, entrepreneurs. The mindset is really key, because there's nobody really telling us what to do a lot of times. It's us having to go out there and keep getting out of our own way to really scale, right?
Unless they're lucky enough to have a program like the one you just described at the beginning, where I was thinking, this is what people need. It's structure. It's a system. You pick a system, you follow it, you can't go wrong. So check it out.
There you go. So Pam, you were a real estate agent for, you said, how many years?
Like 15 years.
15 years. You did it at a high level. I did look at that. You want to give yourself any shout outs of what you accomplished in the real estate game?
I mean, I'm not really a shout out type of person, but I did it at a high level. I ran a team, and I was, top in my industry. And what I do like is that I left at the top.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's awesome. And then you left then what year?
I would say I left around 2016, 17.
Okay.
Officially 17.
Nice. So good. And then you went in to run your own business and said, hey, so what got you into where you're at now? Were you developing this over time, your own systems of your mindset, and as you're growing your business? What's
I
your
mean, I
why? All
think
that
from
good
a
stuff.
young age, I sort of, experienced a lot of adversity. So just naturally, I was either going to sink or swim. And
Yeah.
if I decided I was going to swim, it had a lot to do with my mindset and what I thought about things and what I thought about myself, which wasn't always pretty. So sometimes I had to take a real good look in the mirror, a hard look. And, you can take a hard look and notice all your flaws.
Mhm.
But also, I think as human beings, we have a hard time taking a hard look and looking at our attributes, the good
Ah,
things about us, pointing out what we thrive at and what's
mhm.
beautiful about ourselves. I was a master of telling myself what was wrong with me. So
Yeah.
I didn't need that anymore. I needed a new lens to look through. And then, I got my degree in college in education and special education. So, like, up in front of a class, you kind of like teaching. And then I went into real estate. And even though I was selling real estate, I was also teaching classes for realtors and created my own little program. And so I think being a teacher in any way, teaching material that you're familiar with allows you to become more confident with it. As you
Yes.
become more confident, your mindset becomes more confident and more optimistic, and seeing the openings in life and in the world and the possibilities and the expansiveness. And then when I left, it wasn't because I was going into this career at all. I left, I had lost both of my parents unexpectedly and took
Mm.
some time off to heal, to, sell their place and wrap up their affairs and stuff like that. And during that time, I already knew I wasn't going back to real estate. I fell into this, or this fell into my lap. And actually, it's not always what I want to be doing. And I think it's really important for people to hear that, because sometimes I don't want to be on, I always like being on podcasts, but sometimes I don't want to be doing the videos that I do all the time, or the public speaking, not because I don't like the message I'm sending, but I don't always want to be out there.
Yeah.
It's very public and you're exposed. And so you're not going to always want to get up and
Yep.
go do the activities that you need to do. And that's where our mindset is absolutely key, because we
Mm.
can't look at what's right in front of us. We have to look at where we're going.
Mm.
And there are lots of little steps to get us where we're going. And the steps, some of them are going to be fun. And, you get a great thing that you love doing, and you get this, you secure this loan and it's amazing. And then other times it's like, this piddly loan, I'm going to get nothing for it. Or this one didn't close and now I have to go and start all over. But that's part of it.
Mm.
And you have to go through those things and not let those things knock you down or make you not want to get up the next morning, or your client's furious with you, or whatever it is.
Mm.
This has to stay strong
Yeah.
throughout all of that.
Yeah. I loved it. Hit a key point you had right off the bat was you're really great at, your flaws, knowing your flaws. And, you weren't putting enough effort of looking at what your attributes were. And anybody scaling their business, that's a key point I don't want anybody to miss, because to scale business, it's really working on your strengths and like making them from a 7 to a 9 to 10. That's what really scales a business, because too many people are focused on like, oh man, I need to get really good at this. And they're just never going to be really, that's never going to be their passion or love and what they're going to be good at. It's like, I'm sure, in the real estate game, you hired people that were really good at certain things that you weren't, but you just honed in on what you're really good at and scaled your business. So in mindset, we always have to look at like, what is our attributes? One of the things that here, off the bat I have is, what is a characteristic that sets you apart, and how will you maximize it this 12 weeks? Because we all have some attribute that's really good. That's a 7 or 8 naturally. We can bring it to a 10 and it absolutely stands out. So I love that, what you said off the bat, because that is a key thing in mindset. Everybody thinks mindset, I just need to turn it on and get, focusing on my flaws. And that's not actually, that's not really healthy. You need to work on other things that are, and scale up what you're really good at.
I think it's a really, really, really good point that is worth me even going a step further with, because we are taught to look at our flaws and to find our negatives and make them better. But imagine you take your strengths and make those even better. You wash out I am calling them negatives, and it's not even the right word. Your weaknesses, your things that you're not as good at, they don't matter. Then, like you said, you leverage yourself, whether it's hire. I'm not good at details. That's not my strength at all. I could care less about the details. I'm
Right.
always a bigger picture type of person. So I hired an admin. But if you can't hire someone, you can't afford that yet, find out something you can do to serve them, and barter with them and have someone, do something a few hours a week in that one area. You're not good at tech, so have them do your tech stuff, whatever it is, but stay focused on your strengths. Also, the more you stay focused on your strengths, your weaknesses won't feel as bad.
Yeah. Wow. That is. I love it. I love it. Yes, we're tracking for sure. I love what you're saying. The audience, I'm sure is loving it as well. So yeah, there's a couple of other key points there. That's like, but I was just sitting there listening, and now I'm like, can't remember them. That was a really, really good one for sure off the bat. That people just and I never, and I was the same way. I was so bad at that because I had a childhood that was really bad. My dad beat me, physically, mentally, and so everything was just, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing, doing good enough. And it's funny, like when I was powerlifting, I became number one in the world in my weight class, and at one point I was going to put out, I was like, I'm gonna start training people, and then I got scared, right? I got really scared because I was like, I'm a phony, I'm a fraud, like, and like there's other people in their divisions better than me, and there's somebody probably going to beat me, here soon, and all this stuff, and it's like crazy, right? So I put it out there, and immediately I had like 30 people sign up. Like I was like, whoa, right? And so then I did it for coaching, for mortgage coaching, because here I was, doing 20 loans a month for good, just straight for a period, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do this coaching. And it's like, well, there's better people than me out there that are doing more loans. It's like, well, guess what? You can still help people where you're at. And all these things come into mind because you're sitting there going, what am I not good at? Or there's somebody doing it better level. That's great. But can you still help people where you're at? And here's the other point that I was thinking about when you said like, and I think that you probably got this way. They're identity-based habits, right? Like I would say, once you took on this other role, you became even hypersensitive and better at that mindset, because it's like you just have to evolve because that's what was expected of yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I forgot to mention that journey prior to all of this, but of course you hone in on it. But I think even in real estate or any sales, if you don't have the tunnel vision, the thick skin, and the ability to see your power, the power that you stand in every single day, you're going to be knocked down, and you're going to, not feel confident and that you can go do this. You have to be your own biggest fan, your own biggest advocate. And whatever doesn't work, you can't see it as something that was because of something that you're not good enough. Could you have made a mistake and done something better? Absolutely. We have to be realistic and honest with ourselves, and you learn from that, but you can't let it knock you down and take you down with it.
Yeah. I mean, your best year ever. How many mistakes did you make that year?
Oh, I mean, probably 365.
Right. Right. So that's the whole point, right? You made, but you had a successful, huge year, and people looked at you as success. You were a success. You helped so many people, but like you said, you made 365 mistakes. Just part of it.
Growth.
Yeah.
It's growth. And people think mindset's all about positivity, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's about deciding the way you want to live your life, deciding the outcome you want to have before you have it, and locking in on that vision and letting nothing get in the way of changing it. And the days that it does get in the way, getting back up the next day and going for it again.
Absolutely. I love this one book. I don't know if you've read it by, what is his name now? But It Takes What It Takes.
Okay.
It's a really good book. But it talks about neutral thinking. I want to get your thoughts of what you think, because you talked about it. You got positive, you got negative thoughts or whatever. Positivity mindset. A lot of people say, well, I'm being negative, go straight to positive. He talks about neutral thought, having a lot of neutral thought when something bad happens or you're trying to cope, or et cetera, et cetera. What's your thoughts on neutral thinking?
I mean, I think neutral's safe. I think it's good. I think anything that's not negative is good.
Yeah.
So anything that draws us away from negativity is a step in the right direction. And that's all we can ask of ourselves. So obviously, if you're a person who's kind of down on life, down on yourself, glass half empty, whatever type of person, if you can see things just a little bit more, you know what, this happened and it's okay. Or this happened and my life is not going to fall apart. Or this happened and okay, like that's great. If you could see it and this happened and it's a lesson, and I should learn something from this, and what can I take and what can make me better? That's amazing. But the neutral is totally fine. I go through neutral a lot. We go through, I think, different experts say different things, but I would say 70 to 90,000 thoughts a day. and
Yeah.
80% of them are negative. And that's because that conditioning starts from the day we are born, and it's not even intentional, but your mom is changing you or your dad is changing you and says something like, "Oh, you stink." And your cells hear that. And obviously, you probably do stink and there's nothing wrong with it. But like your cells hear everything that's being said around you. You're told that Aunt so and so is the best aunt to come over and so much fun, but she's not so much fun around you. And you think there's something wrong with you because you don't see what's so great about Aunt so and so that everyone else sees. It starts at such a young age that to think wherever you are in your life right now, if you're watching this, that it's going to change just automatically or even quickly is very unrealistic. This is a process. It's the long game here, and we have to work on it every single day. And you don't have to work on feeling negative or feeling bad because that's your natural state right now, because that's what we've been conditioned to be.
Mhm.
So you want to kind of pivot over to the other state as I move my whole body there. And when you start pivoting over to that state and it becomes more of a habit, that's not going to take work. It's going to be easy to have a strong mindset, and going negative is going to feel unfamiliar.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know I feel like I've stripped a lot of gears trying to go from, it's like driving a vehicle and just trying to go from all the way full blast negative to, just reversing it and going, positive. It's like, oh, positive, positive. And I've stripped some gears trying to do that because it's actually different times I know for myself trying to go from that like just kind of traumatic type of trauma in different ways, right? We all have trauma in different like little ways, not like maybe massive traumas, but we have those little traumas where somebody does us wrong or whatever. And going from, I know for me personally, going from and trying to go straight to positive is like stripped a gear, and I'm like, and it's kind of then I almost go back to negative for a little bit because I'm not going neutral first. So that's kind of something I've learned over time. That's just, it's stripped my gears out certain times. And now, yeah, I have less negative thoughts. I go more neutral and then back positive, and it's helped me personally.
I mean, I think that's a great way to say it. It's a great metaphor, number one. But also, I think that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves,
Yeah.
and take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
One day at a time, and question yourself. So you just said something, if someone wrongs you or you don't get that loan secured or whatever, I'm using that example because it seems fitting, but
Absolutely.
and you get really upset, just do one thing differently. Question, why am I getting upset right now? What's
Yes.
happening inside of me? What is my body going crazy like this for? And what is my mind telling me I'm so bad? You're being triggered, and the
Yep.
trigger is something from your past, and you built on it year after year after year after year, that this is your automatic response system or reaction, not even response, reaction. And you can undo this reaction just by being conscious and aware of it.
Yeah. I like what you said. That was a key point. The past definitely, and I have. That's what I end up doing. It's like, why am I getting so upset about this? Even cold calls. I was having like I didn't want to cold call people back in the past because why was that? And really, I uncovered. I was like, why? And really, it became because it was the past. Is that, and I didn't trust myself. Like if you were kind of snotty with me, that they wouldn't trigger me and go over the edge, and I was just really in mad. And then why was I mad? Well, because I felt inferior. I felt like back to some of the stages of how my dad made me feel, right? So it's really good when you figure those things out and just ask yourself why, and not just take the feeling itself and not ever look at the triggers and what's going on below. It's so amazing, and nothing everything's work, but it's crazy how much transformation I've had just those few little questions. It's
I
crazy.
mean, I just love that you just said everything's work, because I was literally going to say before you said that someone's been doing his work, and clearly you have. And I hope the audience, your viewers, your followers, whatever, are looking to you as a mentor and a model, because it's about the work. It's about going through it, feeling it, understanding it, facing it. You can make your mindset change by telling yourself you wanted to, and then, oh, I'm so happy and everything good is in my life. But you know what? There's going to be that one day that comes crashing down on you again because you haven't done the work. And the
Yeah,
work, by the work, I mean
yeah,
the healing, because we've all been through it. We've all been through the pain. There are stories that if you listen closely enough, most stories that people tell you will bring you to your knees.
yeah.
And if you haven't healed, your mindset can't change or be in the healing process.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that. Some might be listening to this going, well, how's this again? How's this apply to business? But it absolutely is business, because if you can operate at a tempo and you've done so much work, and you can go from one negative failure, quote unquote failure, or mess up, or relationship that doesn't go exactly right, or deal that doesn't go exactly right. So because we all have, like, it's not like, I think there's this big misnomer out there. It's like once you work on this, it's like it's like you're a sociopath or something. Like you never have a feeling again that's incorrect, or it doesn't affect you. It's like it affects you. You just recover a lot faster. It's kind of like, when you're in really good shape, like boxers are in really good shape, they get hurt and they recover a lot faster because they're such incredible shape. And it's just recovery time. It ends up that I've noticed my recovery time is a lot quicker. Instead of being in a funk for a week, it became 3 days, and it came a day, and then it came like 2 hours, and those same kind of things, again, took a week to get over, or taking me an hours to get over.
I think that, and I also think you're hitting different layers. So
Yeah.
you're going, you have trauma at different layers. And when you get through one layer and you get through that surface layer, you go down to the next layer and then the next layer, but you're able to handle it better because, you've been through layers already.
Yeah.
But I think also you said, how do people relate this to business? You were saying that to your viewers. And I also would just want to say, like, you mentioned cold calling. I didn't do a ton of cold calling, but I called my database all the time.
Right.
And for me, it was like, I couldn't wait to get to 100 no's.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get to the 100th no, because I knew when I got to the 100th no, I'd get the yes. And 100 was my number that I would make up for myself. But the thing is, I was okay with those no's. At the beginning, I wasn't. I wouldn't even pick up the phone. I was like, no way. Someone's going to say no. They don't want me to come see their house. Of course, they don't know me. Why would they want me to come see their house? And what the stuff you and I are talking about as it pertains to business is like when we get our head and our minds more comfortable with who we are as people. We like ourselves better. We know our strengths more. We're more comfortable with our traumas and our triggers. Then we're more comfortable on the phone. We're more comfortable approaching people for business. We're more comfortable putting ourselves out there because we feel good about ourselves. And guess what? We actually love ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge. And I think you kind of touched on another thing that really I've noticed so many times in my clients. And so I've had clients where they've doubled their business, right? And they're doing really well, and they're making good money. And it's happened for months down the road. And then, but you see, they're still carrying old messages, right? Like, it's like, no, you're a top producer now. Like like this is not just going to be taken away. The stuff you've done now, the groundwork you've done, and how you're thinking differently, that's changed. You've evolved, but they have the old messaging that they're still the one. Like they can be starting to do 15 loans or something, and they were doing 3 and 5 before, and the old messaging is, I'm the person that does 3 loans a month, and I think that really holds true for so many people because they still have that and they don't feel empowered. And I'm sure that you've seen that a ton through time. The old messaging, they're still this person, even though they've gotten to here, they still feel like they're way back at the start line.
Absolutely. And I think there are a lot of things that the first of all, you have to notice that about yourself. You have to wonder, why am I holding on to this? Oh, I can only do X amount of deals in a given year. Like we were told that when I first started in the real estate industry. And after I forget how many years, I blew past that. If I had listened to that and believed that, just because someone says something or you tell yourself something, this is how we started, it doesn't mean it's true. And so like instead, first of all, look at your old paradigms, your old beliefs, see if they still resonate with you, question them. And maybe they do, and that's okay. Then you keep them with you, but see if they're serving you. Yeah. 2, understand the possibilities out there, the expansiveness, because so-and-so has done $100 million in real estate transactions. Most people would say, wow, she's an elitist. She can do that. That's amazing. I'm never going to be able to do that. You can too. There's no reason you can't. Lock in, visualize it, make it happen. You can do it. It's about seeing the possibility, believing there could be something different and knowing it. And I'm just going to go one step further. this goes back to what I said earlier and what you said earlier. It's all about the work. Are you willing to put in the work?
Yeah.
The work of making the phone calls, the work of shopping the loans, the work of all that, that's work that you have to do that for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the technical aspect. But when you start working on yourself, who you see yourself as, how you believe what you believe in yourself, the world, your career, your personal life, your financial world is going to open up for you in ways you could never, ever, ever, ever have thought possible.
No, you're absolutely, yeah, I love it. I love everything. I'm definitely, we're definitely linked up for sure. Working on yourself an hour a day or whatever, 2 hours a day. I mean, put that work in, because you think, well, I don't have time for it. It's like, here's what people don't understand is that when you are truly operating at a different level, a different mindset, you act quicker, right? You have quicker actions. You make decisions more concise. You make that call. You go through the next. Your energy's not burned as much, so you can get a ton more work done in a shorter amount of time. So my thing is like 22 loans a month, 38 hours a week. That's my whole hashtag stuff. And really people, man, you're just not working much. Well, it's, you're spending a lot of time working on yourself to where you can operate that efficiently. Because what I found is, loan officers, or you saw it in real estate, like you're almost like you're waiting for that clear to close, right? You're just waiting for that clear to close, and you're like Jedi mind tricking, like, I'm going to sit here behind a computer and I don't worry about it for the next 3 hours, and I'm going to keep looking at my phone. I'm keep doing, instead of, just keep going, right? And just keep operating. I think is a key point. So, and that's one of those. And there's this one book I wanted to ask you about. I don't know if you read this too. I'm throwing books at you, but Heart of Laser Focused Coaching. I love it. Now there's it talked about themes in there, and one of the themes is going to a hardware store for milk, which I love. I'm like, wow, that's a great analogy, right? Hardware store for milk. And I want to get your thoughts on this, because for me personally, that has been probably the biggest theme in my story, through business, but through business relationships, all that. And going to the hardware store for milk, thinking, hey, listen, this person is not doing this, right? This relationship is not giving me this. And this business partner is not giving me this. This company is not giving me this. And what we're looking for is that heart going to Lowe's and trying to get some milk, and then thinking, you could think Lowe's is the best place ever, but yet you feel disappointed because they don't have milk. And so sometimes we have a great partnership in business, great partnership in our personal life, but yet we're just like, well, if they just had this, and we should realize that, hey, why are we going to the hardware store for milk? And how is that ruining a relationship because I'm expecting that? And how is that bleeding into to my thoughts about them, and my animosity, and my empowerment for myself? Kind of want to get your thoughts on that, but that has been a huge one for me that has definitely plagued me through time. And as I uncovered that, I'm like, whoa, I've been doing that way too much.
Before I go into that, I just need to say to everyone, you don't have to spend an hour or 2 hours working on yourself. It would be really awesome if you did. So you're on the right track. But even if you just did 5 more minutes than you're doing right now, you're doing 0, 5 minutes in.
Yep.
If you're doing 5 minutes, do 10 minutes. 1 to 2 hours is amazing, but it can be overwhelming for people who aren't doing anything yet. Anything is better than nothing.
Great point.
Get started today, right now,
Great point.
now.
Yep.
Okay. So my thought is, we have all these expectations and these beliefs about what we can get from people, or from the hardware store, or from external things. And so, like, I've had partners before. I had partner when I first started real estate, and man, was that disappointing. And I was carrying the whole load, and it was frustrating. So I know and I was looking for this from that person. You have to accept people for who they are. And this goes for relationships too. So if any of you guys are looking for relationship guidance, like, you have to take them for who they are at the moment you sign up with them. You might think, oh, we both have high hopes and we both have this and we're expecting this and we're saying we're going to do this. You have to look beyond what the person is saying and really know who they are and what they're capable of giving. Because trust me, they don't want to be disappointing you. They don't want to be letting you down. And it causes conflict and they get defensive and you get annoyed because you want more and you said, oh, well, I signed up for this and I signed up for more. Trust me, if they could give you more, if Lowe's could give you milk, Lowe's would give you milk. But Lowe's can't give you milk because they don't follow the FDA requirements or whatever. And people can't give you what they don't have. And the only way they can start to give you that is if they decide they want to make those changes. So how do you deal with that? You go within. You fill that need for yourself. And you stop saying, well, I'm doing more work then and we're getting paid equally, or that person's an assistant at this company. They're supposed to help me. Or why didn't my company give me another sales opportunity? Stop blaming everyone else. When you stop blaming everyone else and stop looking to the other people for it, first of all, you're going to be happier because you're not going to be disappointed, because people are disappointing. They are. They don't mean to be, but they are. But also you're going to realize you have it all within yourself. And when you start to go within and get it from yourself, it's going to appear everywhere else. Yeah. It's going to naturally start appearing in people in places that you weren't expecting. And you're going to be like, wait, I thought Lowe's didn't have milk. Lowe's has milk? What? When did Lowe's start getting milk? And maybe not Lowe's, but it's going to come around because you focused on your own work inside of yourself. And that's called manifestation.
Yeah, love it. That is awesome. I, definitely giving some great insight, and I'm loving these conversations, because these are the conversations that I love. The psychology, what's going on internally, because again, it translates to happiness, right? And the happier you are, the more fulfilled you are, the better you can be in life and business. And so I have a powerful thing, like my thing's a powerful theme, and the powerful theme is energy. And where are we getting energy from? And this self-investment. And then number 2 is prospecting every day. Number 3 is marketing, and number 4 is relationships. And that's my powerful. And if you can do those things, you're going through powerfully. But you have to, again, work on yourself. You have to uncover those things. You have to invest in yourself. Every single day. And I love your point. You're absolutely right. Like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, it could be whatever that you can invest to. If it's just 1% better than yesterday, I mean, that's great. I don't do it 2 hours every day or anything. I obviously invest in myself, but there's a lot of days and a lot of weeks when I'm really like, okay, I need to really pour into myself. I do that. But just having like some kind of staple saying, well, I'm going to do something every time at this time, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, it's just going to add up over time. So I love it.
Like, sorry to interrupt you, but like just showing up sometimes is investing in yourself. You don't want to go to that meeting, or you don't want to call that client, or make that cold call, and you show up and you do it. It's not all about reading the books and taking a bath or meditating or having your lemon water. It's all of that stuff too. But sometimes if you just show up when you didn't want to show up, that's investing in yourself.
Nice. Yes. Yes. That's a very, very good point that I just stepped right over. So great job. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's, to kind of get some a little bit of a wrap on this, like what would be your advice to a mortgage loan officer, real estate agent trying to grow their business? It could be in your experience of you doing it. It could be experience now that you've been obviously coaching and mindset coaching, et cetera. What's some tips you have for people out there to really grow, expand?
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to say none of this is easy.
No.
When you're starting out. So we're talking about it and we're both in it, and I can tell we are, and we're both on the same page and everything like that. And I know neither of us got here yesterday.
No.
So the first thing is stick with it. Do not give up, even when it seems like it doesn't work, even when it seems like you're not signing those deals, even when it seems like no one's answering the phone or they're all saying no. That's even better time to keep on going. Do not ever, ever, ever give up unless you don't want to be in the industry anymore. And then that's different. So that's first thing. Second thing is, before you make your calls, before you start doing your cold calls, make a cold call to yourself. Pretend phone, get on your phone. Hey, so-and-so, it's Pam Christian with ... and do your call. Get your energy up. stand up when you're doing it. Get your energy going so that your first call isn't where you're practicing your energy. You've already gotten your energy.
Nice.
When you wake up in the morning, how about some affirmations? I am awesome. I'm amazing. I'm gorgeous. I am the best mortgage broker out there, or whatever you are. Anything and everything like that. When you go brush your teeth, put your headphones in, go on YouTube, listen to positive podcasts like this one, or listen to affirmations, anything that's going to get your head in the right place. Drink a lot of water. I know that's not probably what you were thinking or asking. Actually, you're a weightlifter. Drink a lot of water. You know you need to be hydrated.
Yeah.
Except a few days before the shows, because then you got to kind of flush out a little. I know. But before you make your calls, visualize the success.
Yeah.
Also, ask yourself how you can add value to your clients' lives, nothing to do with your industry.
Yeah.
How can you add value in any way? Do they need a plumber? I do, obviously, that's why I brought up a plumber. Do they need information on the town they're living in? Do they want to fight their taxes? What's going on in their life? How is COVID for them? What's been happening? Anything and everything you can find out about them will allow you to know how you can add value, which will cement your relationship, which means when your relationship with them is cemented, you're going to be their go-to person when the time comes. Read. Obviously, you're a big reader, but not just on mindset and personal development, but on your industry. Yeah. Also on people and relationships. And then, I always had a system. And you have a system right here with Hires Coaching. Systems are key in our industries because we are flailing around. We don't sit down. Every day, every morning I sat down. The first thing I did is I wrote 5 personal notes to people in my database every single day. And not an email, not a text, but a personal note that was mailed to them and they got in their mailbox. And after that, I'd make calls. And after that, I'd reach out to the attorneys and the inspectors to see what was going on. And have your system. Hires Coaching has it ready for you. So just follow that and follow it for 6 months at a minimum before you decide if it's working for you or not. 6 months straight. Yeah. I could go on and on, but I think you probably have had enough of me.
No, I love it. Those are absolute fire for sure. And you're right. The last key of stick with it for 6 months and because there's so many when I was powerlifting, same way, like program jumpers, it's 4-6 weeks in, it's this is not working. It's you don't know if your strength is going up or not. You don't know. And everything, of course, is a 90-day burn. You know that in real estate, what you're doing now shows up 90 days. And you're and then you have to continue to work at that. And nobody comes into any system and just goes, okay, implements right off the bat. It takes a while to implement all that because, we're human and we're not robotic. And especially, real estate agents, mortgage loan officers, entrepreneurs, you said it. We're not the most systematic people normally by just straight nature, right? So we're kind of herding cats sometimes. So it's going to take a while to get all that down and do all the right things and stick with it. So
yeah. I think you made a really good point also about I forgot what you called them, but the jumpers or the hoppers or whatever. Yep. And people do that. And then they blame everything, but the system was wrong, like you said. And the thing is, there are so many great systems out there. I'm sure they're not all as great as yours, but there are a lot of good ones. There are. Just choose one and stick with that and give yourself 6 months and then see what your feedback is on the system and make a decision if you want to switch.
Yeah, I have a quote, and I'll probably hack my own quote, but it's every diet, every exercise program, every business plan all have the same answer, the one you believe in and consistently execute. Right. So that's what it is. You have to believe in it and consistently just execute in it. And there's certainly coaches out there that can scale people's mortgage business and they may be a better fit, with them. I don't care. Just go get help, and stick with it. Like you said, whoever you choose, it doesn't have to be me. It can be certainly someone else. Just stick with it.
And it should be him.
Crush it and go out there and and also have fun, right? Just have fun.
Have fun. I love that. That's what this is all about. Don't take it too seriously. I know we all have to pay our bills, but if you just keep doing the work, enjoy it, have fun, see how you can add value, it's all going to work out.
Yeah. The other day I was doing a Zoom call with my team. They said something because I said, I'm going to do something and I'll keep my poker face. And you can't keep your poker face. And I was like, just a second. And then I brought up Lady Gaga Poker Face, and I'm like going across the screen, poker face.
He has fun on his team.
You
See?
gotta have some fun sometimes, Gotta make some jokes, We have some fun. I mean, I don't have fun enough either. I'll self admit that because sometimes it's just so like, let's get this loan closed, let's get this. The industry's crazy, and I got all this going on. And sometimes, again, we have to continue just to remind ourselves, like, go have fun. And I actually have that trigger. I knew the pulse of my team was kind of like too serious. And I was like, okay, I got to have fun and like just put it in my brain to have fun. And just no matter what I'm doing, just make yourself have fun and have fun with your team. Have fun with your clients. And
that's a great example. You just made a change. You decided you saw something that needed work and you decided to change it. And that's what we're talking about. That's just all what we're talking about, and then sticking with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Pam, it's been a pleasure. Pam, where can they see you? Where can they go? Where can they get your advice, your coaching, all that good jazz?
All right, so check me out on Instagram at Pam Christian with 2 N's. I do a lot of, videos, quotes, mini series, and then you can always shoot me an email or inquiry at thepamchristiangroup.com. And those are the 2 best places.
Awesome. Well, make sure you follow her. As you can tell, she knows it. She's done it. She's put work in, continuously putting work in, and let her help you put the work in as well. So, hope everybody just continues to crush this 2020 and going into 2021, having the best year ever. Pam, it was such a pleasure learning from you. Man, I love these because it's like I learned so much and like there's things I'm like, okay, I need to go work on that right now. So thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Well, guys, remember, limited risks equals limited income.